Education Office and at each of the school buildings in the district. Roll call, please.
Here.
Mrs. Wagner?
Here.
Mr. Cass?
Here.
Mr. Kim?
Here.
Dr. Arunathasan?
Here.
Mr. Anderson?
Here. Dr. Moore is going to be arriving a little bit later, but he will be here. We do not have a need for executive session, so please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on to our agenda, we've got special presentations this evening. We'll have our strategic planning later. Dr. Forte, that presentation will be during that time, is that correct?
I'm sorry?
There's no strategic plan presentation now, right? You're going to be doing it at the meeting? Yep, okay. Move on to superintendent's comments, Dr. Forte.
Okay. So our reorg meeting is going to conflict with the township meeting on January 2nd. We can move the meeting to 6 p.m. on January 2nd, or we'd have to find another date or location. Since it's a day where we're going to be inaugurating people, it might be a nice thing to do it in the council chamber, so I thought maybe 6 p.m. if everybody could do that. If everybody can't do that, then we can look for another location. We could do it in the community room. It's just not as, I don't know, it's not as formal for the swearing in. What do you guys, any suggestions, thoughts, comments on that?
When does that have to be done by?
The reorganization meeting needs to be done by the 7th of January by statute.
So the option would be move it to 6 p.m. on the 2nd, or I guess move dates, is that correct?
Either dates or location.
Okay, I'd prefer not to move the location. I prefer to keep it where it is. Everybody, if they know where our meetings are, I don't want to kind of shuffle the location. So I prefer either 6 p.m. is fine with me, or does anybody have an issue with 6 p.m. on the 3rd? Is it the 2nd or the 3rd, sorry?
It's January 2nd.
I thought we had it advertised as the 3rd to begin with, you know?
I believe it's the 3rd.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. It's January 3rd, Tuesday, January 3rd. So it could be as easy as just moving it to the community room too. So we don't really have to move it to a totally different location, but at 6 p.m. we should be able to get our meeting in. Theirs starts at 7:30. If you guys are good with that, we'll just move it to 6 p.m. and leave it. And I will check with Mrs. Dallas if if that'll work for her.
And I'm guessing we didn't do the 2nd because that's considered a holiday. The schools are closed, is that why?
Yes, it's a day. It's the legal holiday for that day.
Okay.
For the January 1st.
So let's do this. Shoot me an email, me and Steve an email, and Damaris, if there's a problem with 6 p.m. on the 3rd. If not, I would say let's move it to 6 p.m.
Okay, and I do have a meeting scheduled with Ms. Idalis in December to discuss Board of Ed and some onboarding for her. That's it for my comments.
Thank you, Dr. Forte. Assistant Superintendent's comments, Dr. Pellis.
The Start Strong individual student reports will be delivered to the district around December 16th, and then we will mail them home prior to the winter break. So you should look for those Start Strong reports sometime between the 16th and the 23rd. This concludes Assistant Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Pellis. Mrs. Gorowski, any business administrators' comments?
I would like to congratulate Mr. Cass on the re-election for 2023 through 2027, as well as Mrs. Dallas, newly elected board member. That will complete my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Gorowski. And it is now 6:35, and I'm going to open our first open public discussion for agenda items. This portion of the meeting is open to any individuals for the purpose of addressing resolutions on this agenda or matters that they find important to the Board of Education and is governed by Board Policy 0167. Prior to making a comment, members of the public are required to state their names, addresses, and the subject matter of the comment. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. No participant may speak more than once on the same topic until all others who wish to speak on that topic have been heard. Comments made by members of the public may or may not be responded to by the board or district administration. Any response that is provided will be made at the end of the public comment period after all comments have been heard. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Students and employees have specific legal rights afforded by the laws of New Jersey. Therefore, comments regarding specific students and employees will not be responded to by the board. The board bears no responsibility, nor will it be liable for any comments made by members of the public. Members of the public should consider their comments in the light of these legal rights and those affected or identified in their comments, and be aware that they are legally responsible and liable for their comments. All statements, questions, and inquiries shall be directed to the board president. It is now 6:36 and I'll open for public comments. Seeing no one come forward, I'm going to close our first open public comment discussion at 6:37 p.m. and move on to the agenda. Mr. Capello, if you wouldn't mind moving us through old business.
I would be happy to. If there are no objections, I would like to move items A, B, and C. A are school reports from October 2022, treasurer of school money and board secretary. Education reports, the report of student enrollment, report of the health office from October 2022, and an HIV case LV 222304. And finally, the minutes from our work and executive session meeting of October 10th, 2022, and our regular session and executive session meeting 1 and 2 from October 24th, 2022.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Mr. Cass, any questions, comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Capello?
Yes.
Mrs. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Cass?
Yes.
Mr. Kim?
Yes.
Dr. Aruna Detazen?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes. Under new business, personnel, Mrs. Wagner, would you mind moving us through the personnel section?
Certainly, if there are no objections, I would like to move under personnel items 1 through 5, asking you to pay special attention under A, the addendum under 1O and P that are on your yellow sheet. That includes a list of new hires, resignations, retirements, employee leaves, extra pay, and salary adjustments in item 1, and 2 through 5 are substitutes and leave of absences.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Wagner. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to highlight, help me out with pronunciation. Dr. Cullis, item 1G. Zeleny, thank you. Teacher, Ms. Zeleny is moving across the guide. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mrs. Wagner and Mr. Capello. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Capello?
Yes.
Mrs. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Cass?
Yes.
Mr. Kim?
Yes.
Dr. Aruna Detazen?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes. Instruction program, Mr. Capello, would you mind moving us through that?
I would be happy to. If there are no objections under instruction program, I would like to move items 1 through 6 as a block. 1 includes some of our teachers attending an NJASA Tech Expo in New York City, virtually attending another event. Sorry. We also have approval for a student from Grove City College to observe the 22-23 school year, another student from Rider University, one from a local high school to observe in Valley View, attached field trip list, and finally approve a Girl Scout project for Abby Piggy from Morris Knowles High School to be conducted in Valley View during the 22-23 school year.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Capello and Mr. Cass. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Capello,
Yes?
Mrs. Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. Cass,
Yes.
Mr. Kim,
Yes.
Dr. Arunaitatasan,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes. And Mrs. Wagner, would you mind moving us through policy revision?
I would be happy to. If there are no objections, I would like to move under number 1 in policy revisions, 2 policies. These are for second reading and adoption. One is policy 5512, harassment, intimidation, and bullying, HIB, which is revised. And our new policy 0167, public participation in board meetings, which has also been revised.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Wagner and Mr. Kim. Any questions, comments on policy revisions? I just want to say thank you to Mrs. Wagner for bringing up the revisions that are being done to policy 0167, public participation in board meetings, where we will, effective at our next meeting, allow public participation via our Google Meet or our electronic platform, so virtual participation. I appreciate Mrs. Wagner bringing it up, and I appreciate the different committees that have reviewed it and ensure we've got a policy that will hopefully sustain us moving forward, so I appreciate it. Any other questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Capello,
Yes?
Mrs. Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. Cass,
Yes.
Mr. Kim,
Yes.
Dr. Arunaitatasan,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes. Mr. Kim, would you mind moving us through finance, please?
Sure, happy to. Section D, finance, I motion that we approve 1 through 3, where number 1 is a list of checks, number 2 is the approval of the agreement for pay school central application, and number 3 is out of district placement. I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Kim and Mr. Cass. I would just remind those that attended the school board convention that there are check numbers to abstain from on the checks list. Any other questions or comments?
I'd like to add that for number 2, I was able to get confirmation from the mayors that there will be a recurring cost or fee with number 2. Thank you for checking that, Damaris.
And the current cost will be $5,700 for annually.
And Damaris, can you just remind me, so that is a electronic payment system, is that correct?
That will be an electronic payment system that we'll be utilizing next year in combination with Genesis for the payment of the milk and Chromebooks insurance fees, as well as field trips.
Damaris, just a follow-up question. Do we have a feel for how much money's going to be going through that application on an annual basis? And roughly, if you don't have a number, I understand, but just roughly.
It could be anywhere from $1 to $50,000.
Well, you have the Chromebooks are how much?
It's about $25.
Right, and then you have milk, insurance.
Field trips up, let's go by.
So,
It could be more than 50, but I'm estimating an average of $50,000.
So first I just want to make the point that the public has the option to still pay by check where there's no associated fee. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
And then if I'm choosing to pay for Chromebook insurance, and I will pay a fee, is that right? In addition to the district paying a fee?
The district will pay the recurring fees annually, and yes, the participant paying those fees through this app will pay the fee as well.
Thank you.
So just to clarify, so if it's $50,000, the 5% recurring, that would represent 10%, and plus the convenience fee, which I believe is 3 point something percent that the parent pays or the payer pays.
The convenience fee will be $1.95 per transaction, except if it goes above $50.
Mr. Anderson, would you?
You know, one other quick thing. The mayor's is, the numbers we're talking about are much higher. If you add in the field trips in middle school alone, right, where each field trip is $400. Now, there's some changes right now due to COVID, like we had some extra money, but the traditional fee for some of the trips were in the hundreds of dollars. So you multiply that by 500, 600 kids. It's a decent amount of money just for the field trips in the middle school alone. And I'm not even trying to sell you on this. I just want to make sure you understand how much money could be coming in down the road. Okay?
And I'm not even counting the additional fees for the after-school programs that we can run through the program as well too, the enrichment program.
I think, and I'm going to speak for, the group here, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the hesitation and the questions that you're hearing is just our frustration with the cost of the fees, and we pay them as a convenience fee in many, many locations now, but not only will the participant be paying them if they choose to use a card, but the district's also going to pay a percentage. So it's just, I think, for me at least, that's the frustration that I'm experiencing.
We're trying to get away from the checks. We already got away from cash, and everything is checked as of right now. We had an issue during the pandemic that we had to refund checks to every parent after they had made some payments, and it was a big task. So we started investigating on an online system just to get away from doing a refund if we have to do it again.
I can tell you that if the option for when I pay my utilities to the town, I don't pay it through the credit card because I don't want to pay the fee. Now, yes, if I go to 7-Eleven, Mr. Capello,
Sure.
I'll use my credit card and I'll use cash, right? Because I can't use a check. Like if I have the option to pay a check and not pay a fee, I'm wondering, I don't know how much is going to be used on this, and then they're paying the fee. I just know a lot of systems out there that'll just take the credit card processing fee and they won't charge us a $6,000 per year maintenance fee or $5,700, whatever the number was, plus a setup fee. It just seems like there's a lot of fees built into this. I know it's a school pay, so maybe because they label it as school pay and maybe because it's integrated into Genesis, maybe that's where they're getting us. But it just seems like I would love to go to that too. It just seems like they're making out on this one. I don't know. It just seems like did we look at, I'm guessing you obviously looked at multiple systems. Is the integration to Genesis where we kind of lean towards, or what leaned us towards this company?
I looked into 3 different companies, this including one of them, and they all have fees related, recurring fees, very similar. And I chose this one because it's integrated with Genesis.
Curiously, does Google have an option of accepting payments?
I did not look into that.
From my perspective, I see it 2 ways. I almost feel like, no, I definitely agree with the other board members. However, the alternative is to hire someone to go after all the parents and cash all the checks. So this could be a slight convenience, paying $5,000 instead of like a full salary, or half a salary, or quarter salary, and all the costs associated with that. Damaris, we could cancel this contract whenever we want, correct?
This will be a 1-year contract.
Okay, but so we've got those initial setup fees, and then we've got reoccurring fees. So it's an annual contract that we would renew once a year. Is that what I'm hearing?
That is correct, yes. If at any point during the year we do not want to use it again, we'll finish that school year and not renew the contract.
Okay, so thank you.
So my concern is paying the fee for the software, I understand, and actually I think that's a benefit to parents and people paying us, because then it's a convenience, and a lot more people are going to use it if the convenience fee is low or zero. If you have now a fee we're paying and a convenience fee they're paying, I think, Mr. Anderson's faulty example using 7-Eleven, but I think the example is correct, that the more that fee is, the less I'm going to use it. So I'm still going to send in checks. So what I'm afraid of is we're going to pay $5,000 to these people, and we're going to be still accepting a lot of checks. So I'm nervous about it. I mean, if it was up to me, I'd ask that we could table this and
Yeah,
do a little.
we're okay with that. We'll table it, we'll look into it a little more and get back to you guys.
I'm very comfortable tabling this. This was some legwork that we've been looking into, just to make it more convenient for everybody. But yes, this district will be paying the fees as well as the parents. And we can certainly table this and look more into this later on.
Yeah, I would say, thanks, Damaris, for the work on it. I think at the end of the day, we've got to head in this direction, there's no doubt about it, right? So we've got to find a way to make it more convenient for both our staff and parents to do it. I think it's a good idea to table it, and then the one thing I would say is just the integration into Genesis does intrigue me, because I think if it makes it, if one process has your staff spending a bunch of time kind of verifying or looking, cross-checking basically payments versus marking them paid and everything, if that's automatically happening, that's intriguing to me. So I would just say let's table that. Who is it? Here, Mr. Kim, and who seconded it? Mr. Cass, are you both good with tabling motion 2?
Sure.
Yeah, it's fine. And we'll probably end up discussing this at the Finance Committee. I had two things to, we're not going to get into it now in great detail, but the Chromebook insurance fees, I had some questions on that also. And other payment options too, integrating with Genesis, but something like Venmo and Zelle, there's a lot of new options out there for transacting payments. So maybe there's something else we could take a look at and talk about at the meeting.
Is that good, Damaris? Do we need to do anything else to table that?
No?
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments under finance? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Capello?
Yes to all, but abstaining on check number 13736.
Mrs. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Cass?
No on the milk fund, yes on everything else.
Mr. Kim?
Yes, except abstaining from check number 13787.
Dr. Ona DeTassin?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes on everything, abstain on check number 13719. And Mr. Cass, would you want to move us through operations, please?
Sure. I'd like the board to approve on operations, starting with transportation. Number 1.1, that the board approve the contract with Hunterdon Educational Service Commission for the rental of a wheelchair school bus as needed for the 2022-2023 school year at the per diem rate of $125. Under buildings and grounds, I'm requesting that the board approve the submission of acceptance of the SSB BEEVR, and that means School and Small Business Ventilation Energy Efficiency Verification and Repair Program, HVAC Replacement New System Program grant through the New Jersey Clean Energy Program application number 68355, in the amount of $2,233,125 for the projects listed below. The work must be completed and supporting documentation received by TRC by November 7th, 2023. 3 projects we're talking about here are all at Lakeview. One is for a cafeteria HVAC, all-purpose room HVAC, and the school gym HVAC. Item 2.2, asking the board to approve the attached rental agreement with Kids to Pros Camp for summer 2023 at Riverview for $10,000 for 3 classrooms. Item 2.3, asking the board to approve Morris Mills High School to borrow the Valley View Wrestling mat for their tournament on December 17th, 2022. Item 2.4, the board approved the following projects to be completed during the 2022-2023 school year utilizing maintenance reserve funds. We have the Bell Electric Contracting and Electrical Work evaluating the school for $10,780. We have Bell Electric Contracting, replace or repair lights at the bus garage for $5,180. Alltech Incorporated, install a boiler and glass line storage tank at Valley View, $17,675. Our Ulrich & Son Contractors, waterproof retaining wall at the Lakeview Elementary School for $8,500. And Master Bonding and Security, install hardware, repair gym and cafeteria doors at Valley View for $9,744. And C&M door controls to replace door number 3 at Lakeview for $6,600.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Cass and Mr. Kim. Any questions, comments? Just as noted previously at our last meeting, thank you to Maris and the team for the work on the grant noted on item 2.1. Seeing no other questions or comments, roll call, please.
Mr. Capello?
Yes.
Mrs. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Cass?
Yes.
Mr. Kim?
Yes.
Dr. Ahmeditasin?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes. Move on to good of the cause. We will clump A, B, and C together. D will be our strategic planning meeting, so we'll wait on that. Anybody have any committee reports, correspondence, or discussion items?
So I wanted to congratulate the Denville Blue Angels varsity team on winning the championship. Was it 2 weekends ago, against Mount Olive, and bring up for discussion if the board wanted to invite them to be recognized in front of the board. Again, DBA is a nonprofit organization. They are not a school sport, but I believe every student is a Valley View 8th grader, so.
Okay, thanks, Laura. And Steve and I had a really good conversation about this earlier today, and I think it's a really good idea to bring up. Obviously, as we talk about interacting with the community and whatnot, I think there was a few little things we talked about that we wanted to be kind of, maybe put it in, like have a little bit of a committee to talk about it. How do we select them? How do we not miss anybody? Do we have a process they can submit to put this in for? And I think the other thing that Dr. Forte brought up that was a really good point was if we have a Valley View sport or organization that has the same function, let's say it's soccer, basketball, baseball, softball, then we would congratulate our Valley View teams, or whether it's the debate team or whatever it might be, those organizations. If we don't, then I think it's a really good point. Like football, we don't have a football program, so or if it was lacrosse, or if it was somebody that won a chess award or a championship or something. Track, thank you, Mr. Kemp. Those are the things I think, but then how do we not miss any, right? We certainly don't want to, so I think it's a really good idea. We also talked about, I think we've been talking about doing it kind of once a year for the Valley View. Do we want to do that twice a year? How do we want to segregate that? So I actually think if we could kind of divide this into kind of a committee to talk about it real quick. I don't want it to be a long, drawn out several months, but one quick committee meeting to just kind of figure out some details. And because I think it's a great idea, and I think we should try to figure out how to make sure we're doing it the right way, just like we talked about with like public participation, make sure we get it kind of figured out. Does that sound fair?
Yeah. No, I think you bring up good points that you want to make sure that, of course, we recognize our value students first, and that if we are going to start making these recognitions, that we have a process in place that people aren't excluded.
Dr. Forte, did you want to add anything, or did you have any recommendation on how we can kind of talk about that quickly without delaying?
Maybe we can get, like you said, one committee meeting real quick, iron out the details, bring it to the board and plan it. I know, Mrs. Wagner, your last meeting is the next one, but it's also a strategic planning meeting. We're trying not to have like I don't want to say distractions, but just other things on top of this piece because of the timeline. So we're thinking about maybe put this together, coming up with the guidelines, and then maybe doing it like we do if we decide to keep it the same, doing it once a year, or maybe we do it twice a year, whatever works. So automatically my mind jumped to Mr. Cass, who's really involved in athletics in the town. I know Mr. Kim is as well, and I know Mrs. Wagner is as well, so maybe that's the committee. I don't know, Mr. Anderson, are you good with that committee?
I'm totally good with that, if the three of you are willing to jump on it. And it could be a virtual meeting, it doesn't have to be extended, just something quickly if you guys can get together in the next couple of weeks before our next board meeting, that way we can get something. I don't think it needs to be a policy or regulation or anything like that, I think we can put this in place pretty quickly, so.
Yeah, it's a good idea that we have some guidelines going forward. And it's really important that we don't miss out. I mean, communications, a lot of us don't know about these championships and state sectionals and things like that. So the communication that we know about it is really critical. And don't forget that all these championships are valid. The foundation for that starts with our youth sports in towns, because all those kids play either rec or travel or higher level of sports before they play baseball or softball at the Valley and all the other sports. So I think it's really a good, builds a sense of community that we acknowledge the championships that they have at the non-scholastic level too.
Mrs. Wagner graciously accepted the invitation to be the chair, so she's going to reach out to all of us, and we're going to get started on this. And I think we'll just have like published guidelines. It won't be an official board policy, but it'll be like a spot on the website, and it'll have published guidelines, and maybe a Google form, something like that.
If I had a gavel, I would slam it down and say that's official, thank you. Anybody have anything else for the good of the cause?
Here's my highlights if you guys are good. Strategic plan, kids to pros rental, and a policy on public participation via virtual means.
That sounds good to me. Okay. All right, we're gonna hold off on other and open public comment section, but we do have a need for executive session. I'd like to see if we can kind of squeeze it in before 7:30. So, Mr. Capello, would you mind moving us to executive session?
I would be happy to. I move to convene the executive session in accordance with Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act. The purpose of this closed session will be to discuss, Steve, what are we discussing?
Legal, student matters, and personnel.
Legal, student matters, and personnel issues. Minutes of this session will be made available to the public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Capello and Mr. Cass. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? We're in executive session at 7:03 p.m.
Nurses, I don't know if you do a pace that goes like this. I mean, I think
We're going to go like we did before?
It's chilly in here, right?
But if we actually use it this year, they should probably.
All right, you guys ready?
Sir? If you guys are gonna talk. Well, right now we don't have to worry about it.
Hey, I have your sign in my office. Talk in the microphone. Thank you.
It sounds so much better when you do.
That's one thing I don't like about these microphones.
Oh, here we go.
Well, I gotta take them open to make it opened all the time, versus flipping a switch. Well, I didn't realize it.
Yeah, where were the attack? This one?
Behind his back there. I laid it out.
Freezing in here. I'm looking at the heat.
Oh, you ladies are always cold.
I kept the.
That's all right, take it easy. I can't see my eyeballs. Oof. want to make it a little smaller. I gotta look at this, because this is gonna do that again. Okay, it's on.
Just one, two.
Yes. Hey, how's it going? Thank you very much. Oh, great.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. Of course. And please eat.
Yes. Okay, great. He's so consistent though. He's always like, volume.
And then you volunteer.
Consistent, right?
Now he's, we watched some things, Rick Veterans or.
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe platforms is something they haven't tried before. And
Especially on the floor, you want to
helping their business classes. He said that for 3 years.
Last time, at this time.
Yes, I did leave. That's okay, but the late ones we. Yeah. And just initial letter, right? And then this is our agenda, and this phone number shows you where we're breakout session.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. We're stealing your refreshment.
They just did it like this.
Hello. Stop.
Oh, I understand. kind of a friend. And then he's on a board of a company that, or an organization that has funding available for people with serious illnesses who need assistance with things like grocery shopping, things that people don't usually get. I did not. That's okay. No worries. Oh, but I called last time.
Perfect, thank you so much.
And there's good.
Always in sense, get to back.
Hold on. Oh, sorry. There. Thank you. Perfect. I don't know. So different vibe. Different. Thank you. Yeah, I think the last one.
Oh, 15. Let me just review the other one. I'm gonna lay my gun across the board. Okay. Yes, no, I didn't order anything yet. Bye.
Thanks for the sandwiches.
You're welcome. This was good.
Very good. You got it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah, I called her before I left today. I was like,
This is still recording, too. It's all right. You wanted to record it. You want all the raw footage. Okay.
Did you take a picture of like where everybody sits for next time? No?
Can you knock yourself out, Jennifer?
Okay, well,
I'll be asking you for it.
I'm sure. I don't know if I can do it all. Okay.
How far do you live from here?
I live in Indian Lake, so it's like walking distance.
You gotta cross 46. I like it over there. You live on the lake?
I live on the lagoon.
Oh,
I
yeah?
could just tape it to my head.
Did you get it from the nurse? What is that?
No, it's a side thing.
Some packing tape around your head.
Wrap some duct tape around my head.
I might be able to set you up.
Put your head to the window, break the pane.
It's bedtime for Ricky, he's still got it.
Yeah.
You sure to be in bed by now?
Well, figure.
7:15.
100%. Lights out.
The cat's probably looking for you.
My daughter's there.
I didn't know you had two.
Yeah, no, you had two either. I thought you just had this new one.
Two what?
Cats.
Oh, we should see it too. You need your glasses.
Yeah, you don't have two cats.
That video, that's why I don't. That thing you're looking at is the scratch pad. When are you gonna buy an Apple or iPhone?
I have it. I mean, I have the video. It's just, I Because of you, we can never look at our videos.
You're right, it was the scratch pad. I was thinking it was another cat.
I saw you
You're
had
right.
a lot of it. Jane was, oh, Jane, yeah, but somebody else was already there. But Jane was started, and then that was me. Yeah, that was, okay, thank you. Yeah.
My cat has this weird thing that,
But I mean, when they were going over all this stuff.
and I even got the ergonomically correct bowl where it's up,
Yeah.
scoops it,
It was definitely.
the dry food, and then eats it off the floor.
They're all so wacky.
Pick the one with the bruising to slow them down, man. I can't get out of that.
I don't know what his problem is. He doesn't want it in the bowl.
Yeah, I don't actually know which was Kiss's food.
Oh, I know that pulled gray meatballs out of that thing. They're perfectly symmetrical too. How's that happen? It's piss. And they're good.
Oh,
They're perfect.
Well, it is a perfect cat.
yeah, oh my God. You just wait till they get older. No, I'm
They're
kidding.
like meatballs.
Even after my kids left school, had nothing.
It's really cool how they just go in litter box.
Yeah, really.
Like, especially as a dog person, it's so cool. You just put this there and they use it.
And then every now and then you hear about the one cat that they potty trained and you're
It
like,
was in college when I finally
Like, when they want to be.
well,
considering it's a
our
K-8
cat
school,
fights you for the bathroom because it wants the shower.
I still
Because
felt
it loves the water. Fights you, but the minute you're like, you're
getting
walking,
into.
Yeah, mine does the same thing.
it's, and then I'm like, come on, get out. And run back in.
I kick
It's like,
him. I gotta
yeah.
push him with my foot. He won't move.
He loves it, can't wait. Like, or if, you know, you're just like passing by the bathroom, runs in there and starts yelling at you to turn the shower on.
I close the door, I'm just closing underneath the thing. That's what it does to me.
So you can cut this part out, but you can't cut the next other part.
Oh, yeah, so
Like, this is not a meeting, you're in executive session.
This is rolling, this is live too right now. too.
no.
Oh, that's great. Well, we gotta put that up.
You want it?
You want it up? Well, you gotta cut this part out.
Just wanted to ask and check if you guys had tried out the video and made sure that it worked. And then I wasn't, last time I talked to a microphone over there, so I
There's a
didn't know.
wireless one now.
There's-
Just speak into the microphone, it's gonna be recorded too.
Okay.
So,
Here we have it.
Today,
you can always tell a person
Yeah, so instead of having that, yeah. Have this?
Oh, perfect.
And you just wait a couple seconds.
So should I need to still stand in this spot like for the camera or
You can walk around it, we've got pretty good range.
Yep.
I'll just watch
Well, I mean, I'll just kind of stay
I'm gonna walk
here.
them, it's not feeling. It should be.
Mr. Ricky, do you want to point it that way?
Oh, we turned it.
And then is there a clicker or am I advancing?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, test 1, 2, hello. 1, 2, hello. 1, 2, 1, 2.
So how does that work with the video?
Test 1, hello.
So
Oh, Miss Billy, where's your laptop? 1, 2, 1, 2. Test 1.
Camera will get it.
So like, okay, so like,
Test 1, hello. 1, 2, 1, 2, hello. Hello, 1, 2. Test 1, 1, 2, hello.
get the video
1,
to stop like I had to press
1,
this.
2, hello. What?
Go all the way around.
Oh, I don't think
I was watching the last one and I heard your name.
Oh, so down here.
It was embedded in there.
Okay, there we go. So, yep.
So you're seeing if you can use that.
Or if you can help or.
Yes, I did. I heard you say, they are. This is really, I know how women, I know how kids in the business. But I guess we're out, so. Yeah, my oldest is there. I'm gonna see your grandma.
actually engaged.
Right now we have found.
Because I can send it out. Please make sure you're 18.
Now.
That there's a video, so that. So can you help me when it's time?
Yep.
Is it working?
I don't know yet.
But yeah, I mean.
I might have to run over and do it.
Take this. Someone take this. So,
You want it to be
go to the corner of that table, just, yes.
Hey, Kim? Yeah, just move that chair over.
No, I'm gonna have
Put
to
the
run over
balloons
and
there, or something, so nobody trips over
I'll
it.
be ready.
I'm probably the one that trips over it. You gotta walk, you just gotta walk.
You can get it to open on another thing, just
Yeah, to the browser.
Oh, you know what?
Come on.
For centuries, our teaching methods have remained largely the same.
Education is about expanding minds, encouraging creativity.
Is that the video? No.
Yes, that is the video.
Thank you.
What's going on? What?
It says Matt and Shirley.
So Charlie's going to speak, so we should let you, but yeah. Yeah. I'm going to go.
Let me just talk to Steve. See, how we do this?
Standard forms, now he's like,
Runny nose. Dino, you got
Yeah.
could have given you the black.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. If everybody could find a seat quickly. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Anderson. I'm the president of the Denville Township Board of Education. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. This is our second strategic planning meeting, so some of you may have been here for the first. Thank you for joining us again, or if you're new to the strategic planning session, thank you for coming for the first time. As I said at our first meeting a few weeks ago, these 3 strategic planning meetings are the most important meetings over the next 5 years in the district. This truly lays out the groundwork and the roadmap, I should say, for our goals and our initiatives for the district over the next 5 years. So I thank you all for participating. I don't want to take up much more time. I'm going to introduce Ms. Charlene Peterson. She's with New Jersey School Board Association, and she's helping us facilitate the strategic planning sessions. Bless you. And she will be going over basically a recap of our last meeting and talk a little bit about the setup for this meeting. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you again this evening. And when I tell my colleagues that we had almost like 100 people come last night, people are like, no, that can't be true. I'm like, no, that is true. That the town definitely came out and really supported this work. And we're excited to see the same number pretty much signed up for tonight. We still have a lot of empty seats we need to fill in. So hopefully people will continue to come in. And, again, thank all of you who were here last time that came back, and also recognize that we have some new faces here tonight, so we really do appreciate the opportunity to have as many voices as possible. And that's really how this process is set up, is to have voices. If you can come 1 time, great. If you can come 3 times, great. We just really want the opportunity, for you to be heard, because every voice helps make this plan that's really specific to your community. So tonight, most of the work is going to be yours. So really, I'm just going to do a kind of a brief introduction of what it is that we'd like you to do tonight. So just going to kind of take you through that. So we started last time with talking about kind of a definition of saying, well, what is strategic planning? Recognize that sometimes it's thought that maybe it's formal, maybe it's something that maybe as parents we might not feel they're comfortable participating in. But really helping us understand that it really is important that we all come together and talk about kind of what is that vision for your students. You know, saying that all of the work we do should be focused on those two words of student achievement. And how do we help advance student achievement in a way that's the most meaningful for your community, and need to hear from you what that looks like. So having said that, you know, recognize that strategic planning is a process. We said, so this process is going to take us through 3 meetings. So we started out in the first meeting, kind of in the blue area here, of talking or kind of answering that question of where are we now? So we heard a state of the district report that kind of gave us some basic information about a lot of the great things that were accomplished since the last plan 5 years, just so that you can really, again, see what a difference this work makes and see how that input that you provided really did help move the district forward. So we're excited again for that same input. And then you took that information from the State of the District report and broke into smaller groups here and talked at your tables about what you thought the top 10 strengths of the district were and what you thought the top 10 challenges were, opportunities of the district were. So then we all then kind of came together, talked about that so that we left with a common understanding of the work of all of the groups, and then posted that information so that everyone could have access to that information. So tonight we're going to continue our work and we're going to move up the pyramid then, and we're going to now answer that second question of, okay, if we know what we are now, where do we want to be 5 years from now? So that's what tonight's going to be. And, you know, when we talk about strengths and challenges, that's kind of concrete. You have something to draw upon. With visioning, we're starting with just ideas. And so it's a little more challenging, but usually kind of a little more fun to kind of just be able to really brainstorm and think outside the box here. And then the last part of this then will be the third meeting, where we'll move up to the next section then of talking about goals. So really the last meeting and tonight, we're actually gathering data or information that we can use then to help develop the goal statements. We took all the strengths, the challenges, the visions, and we kind of resorted them rather than by which table they came from, but maybe kind of the big ideas or the big goal areas. And then next time the groups will use that information then to help develop the goal statements. So it's really kind of a plan driven from the bottom up of everyone's input together. So then that's really our work. Our work is helping get to those goal statements, helping determine the what, helping to develop that roadmap. What is it that we would like to see the district accomplish in the next 5 years? And then we're going to lead that very top piece, that referring the action plans to the work of the staff, work of the administration, work of the staff, and saying, okay, educational experts, take our what and translate it into how for us. Tell us how you are going to carry out this what that we have given you. So this is kind of saying the same thing, but just putting dates in it. So then just, again, kind of keeping us focused, recognizing then we're going to come together again in a couple weeks on December 12th then to, again, talk about that roadmap of how we're going to get there. So here we go. Here we are right now, and just imagine we close our eyes and see the calendar moving forward 5 years into the future. Look up and it's 2028, and now one of us is a year older, right? So just think about the fact that it's 2028, and that the Denville Township School District is being recognized, being awarded as the model district in New Jersey for success in advancing student achievement. You are just the best in the state. So all of the top educators are coming to this award ceremony, and you are the guest speaker being asked to share that story. If I'm coming to hear you, what are you going to talk about? What types of things are going on in the district? What do the facilities look like? What does the technology look like? What are the students learning? What are they going to be able to have to know and do? What skills are they going to have in order for your district to have accomplished this remarkable success? So again, just want you to think about those things. When we go into our small group, that's kind of what's going to help drive that work. And on the back of your agenda is all of this information, those boxes, so that you have that when you go sit in your small groups, of kind of talking about what are those types of things that students are being asked now to add to their skill set, looking at the 4 C's, the different life and career skills, 21st century themes. So just things that, kind of more as we talk about those soft skills and different skills really, that perhaps we didn't focus on when we were in school, but now we're recognizing that those are really important skills for our students to possess. So as you are thinking about that, I'm going to have a video get started here that's just a couple minutes long, but again, to talk about those skills.
For centuries, our teaching methods have remained largely the same.
Education is about expanding minds, encouraging creativity, solving problems, and contributing as individuals, team members, and leaders.
Equipped with the ability to understand the news and the economy, an open-minded, environmentally responsible generation could truly change the world.
In the future, we need kids to be able to think critically.
We need innovators, risk takers, problem solvers.
How is one person supposed to cater to the different learning needs of all the different students?
Students' skills must be teased out, developed, and tailored to.
Rather than adversaries, I see tradition and innovation as allies in education. Imagine bouncing back and forth between the real world and the virtual world, filled with an insatiable zeal for knowledge that is new, egalitarian, and individually curated.
Our aim should be forming people who are creative, reflective, and adaptable.
So it's kind of, helpful to hear from our students themselves, right? Kind of talk about what are those skills. So kind of as you get into your groups, kind of think about some of those things that you just heard from the students, but then also think about, things that you would like the students to be able to know and do. So your job for tonight is, I guess we're... Wait a minute. No, that's okay. So your job for tonight is going to be able to go into your small groups again, with the group number being on the top of your agenda. Go ahead. So, we said that your job tonight was to give that speech. So in your group, want your group to talk about kind of what are those visions, what are those things that you would like for your students. Give your speech a title. You can come up with up to your top 10. It can be more than that. It can be less than that. Again, that's just kind of a guideline about what are those highlights. And kind of say no restrictions, meaning like, don't let anything stop your thinking. As much as we say, maybe kind of throw the budget out the window, throw the standards out the, recognize that really is part of what we do, but don't let it restrict your thinking. I know in one of these that I did, somebody was talking about, well, maybe robots following the kids around. I'm like, okay, maybe that's a little too far. You need to come back again. But just kind of think about, what is reasonable that we can accomplish, but is forward thinking and, allows us to be able to help all of our students, achieve the type of success that we would like to see them. So having said that, again, just providing an example, let's say in the group I was in, we could come up with the title Educate and Empower Everyone to Excel, and then just came up with some ideas. So in some groups, I found that they come up with the title first, and then kind of come up with the ideas to help support the title. In other groups, I've seen it happen the reverse, of coming up with the ideas first, and then kind of coming up with the title that supports your ideas. So either one is fine, just recognize when you get into your groups to have your conversations that you're talking about a title for this work, and then kind of brainstorming what are those things that you would like for the students 5 years from now. So similar to last time, we're going to get into our small groups based on, like I said, the table number that's on your agenda. So we start from group 1, go through 5, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10 back there. And then, would first like you to take the time. Ideally, our groups are randomly put together, so you should have people in your group that are staff members, community members, parents, students. Like to have as many board members, as many different stakeholder voices as possible in each group, because it really provides for richer conversations. And that usually is what we find happening. When I come back to districts a couple years later and they talk about this process, usually the part they're talking about is just the benefit in having these conversations. Like how often do you just get to sit around and talk about your school district in such a positive way and be able to make a difference. So it's important then when you get into your group, there are name tags. Each group has like a little tin, and in those tins are name tags. There's some pens, there's a marker. So if everyone could grab a name tag and fill it out, that would be great. And then take a couple minutes to introduce yourself, kind of go around with everyone in your group and explain what your connection is to the school district, perhaps how long you've been part of the district, and so that you all kind of have an understanding of the people that are in your group with you. And then, when you start getting into the conversation of talking about your task for tonight, again, and as this last time and this time, to really think big picture. We are responsible for every single child in the school district. So when you're coming here tonight, when you're doing this work, you need to think not about your child, not about a grade, not about a particular school, but think about the fact that you are responsible for every single student. So when you're having conversations, when you're looking at this, you need to be looking at this from the perspective of how does this impact everyone, because that's who I'm responsible for. In order to move the district forward, we need to help every student move forward. So make sure your conversations stay on that big picture view. Again, it's important in your group that we have all kinds of voices. Everyone's taken the time to come here tonight and share their thoughts with us, so please make sure in your group that everyone gets that chance to participate. And then, ask that your group kind of come to that top 10 list. So you can use your agendas as scratch paper if you want to, and then you'll see that at each table there is a big yellow sheet. So that big yellow sheet then needs to get filled out. That will be your group's work. So saying that need a volunteer at each table to write on behalf of your group. And then you'll spend about 50 minutes in your small group, and then we'll come back together, similar to the same way we did last time then, and each group will report out or share their group's work, so that we all can benefit from the great work that is going on. So, and then just kind of wanted to give you a sense then before we put you in the small groups of then kind of what next time will look like then. So we'll then kind of take all these strengths, challenges, and visions, put them into some big buckets, and then each group will write a big, broad goal statement with supporting objectives. But I'll go into more detail on that next time, but just kind of wanted to kind of show you how this will all pull together. Now, I know last time before I put you in the small group, someone said, could you go back to the example and leave that up here so that while you're in your small groups, you have that example there. So now, like I said, most of the work tonight is your work of going in your groups, talking about those visions of what you would like to see the students being able to know and do in the year, and experience in the year 2028. Again, there is great food back there, so if you want to stop and get that and take that back to your table. So we said about 50 minutes, so you know, you can see it's 10 to 8 now, so we'll, I'll be watching the clock and we'll give you, you know, a little bit some warnings. So please go to your groups and we'll be coming around to see if you have any questions.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But it's not believed.
Talk to you.
group has been in the past couple of years. So how that happens, I don't know. I think
online communication, technology, around like the more reaction, better access.
wife asked me. Your wife would be clean.
And just giving you a time check that we've spent about 30 minutes in our group now, so pretty soon should be taking those yellow sheets down and be ready to start writing on them.
argue that we need to be maybe unless you want to make sustainability separate, just making that
And doing another time check, so we're down to about 10 minutes now, so for those of you that haven't started writing, this will be a good time to get started.
Good job, Shay, good job.
Okay, it's good to see everyone's writing, thinking if we can, like 5-minute warning here, so try and finish up your work. table number 5 will be ready next after table 8. So whoever is reporting out from table 8, can you come up, please? Okay, group, if we can get our attention now to table number 8 and their work. I'm going to hand the microphone over, and again, just wanted to say thank you to everyone. There really is such a positive energy from your groups and from your conversations, and I'm just really excited to be here and be part of it. So, and turning it over to table 8.
Hi, thank you. I'm Lyle. The title of our article is Beyond the Classroom Walls, Empowering Students to Find and Pursue Their Passions. Our big theme here is trying to have the school as a hub and then kind of grow out from there. Number 1 is real-world applications and financial literacy. Teaching our children real-world skills so that they are less anxious, able to take care of themselves, do the basics so that they can go on and then do other things bigger and better. And those things will be cultivating their curiosity and passion, whatever they are. Some kids might like cooking, some kids might like computers, whatever that is. Using technology, which will come up later, we have the ability to create micro communities within the school, but also by bringing people from outside the school in and taking kids from the school outside of the school walls. We want to promote strong SEL and empowerment and decision-making. This all ties in with the kids having more skills, more basic skills that they can then build off of and grow onto. We want to teach the kids to be resilient, have perseverance and grit. Also part of that learning experience, just being able to make mistakes, bounce back, know that you're not going to do something right the first time, whatever that is. Number 5, community and parent support and involvement. Obviously, we all need to be involved in what our kids are doing, but again, bringing the outside into the schools and bringing the schools outside of the walls. If there's community support and there are things that we can bring in, if there are restaurants that want to teach kids how to cook, if there are things that they can do either in the school or we can take the kids out to the school that show that interest and really help kids find their passion and pursue those passions, whatever they might be, we're happy to do that. The next one, number 6, is space to learn and small class sizes. Also very important over the next few years. The schools keep growing in terms of student enrollment, but they unfortunately do not grow the size of the buildings. So we're over at the annex now. Lakeview's growing, Riverview's growing, Valley View's growing. Where are all these kids going to go? How are they not only just going to be together, but thrive together and be able to do some of these things that we want them to do? Number 7 is that the building and the curriculum is child-centered. And again, that just goes into having a first-class space where they can pursue some of these passions and do some of these things. And that also ties into number 8, student voice and representation. We want to empower the kids. We'd love to see more of a dialogue between students and the administration in terms of what's allowed and what's not allowed. Some places where maybe we can give the kids some say, whether that be dress codes and things like that, or maybe different times of the day where they can have a little bit more say and ownership over what they're doing. Number 9, variety of curricular options and an effective curriculum. Again, that goes back to kind of these micro-learning centers and being able to bring some of those outside things in, whether that be virtual learning, you know, if there's 20 kids that want to take a Chinese class or a Russian class or whatever it is, or if there's kids who want to learn technology or can go out and go take a class at CCM or something like that. And then number 10, learning outside of the classroom and options and virtual guest speakers. Again, just kind of bringing that all together where the kids are here, they're getting their basics, but they're going out into the community and learning and being able to feel like they are full valued members of our society. And then also the community coming in, helping to teach the children, bringing in some of those extracurriculars that we've lost over the last few years, and just helping them. So that's our.
Spokesperson for table 5, and then next I think is table 9 to be ready after that.
Hello? Okay. I'm Francesca Ragnes. I have a son in kindergarten who's my oldest, and then I have 2 following him, so just trying to get involved early. Our title was Opportunities to Innovate, because we thought what we're trying to make, what most of our points touched on was getting to that next level and trying to push those boundaries. Of course, as everyone's going to say, maintaining those small class sizes is going to be a priority, I think, because that's where everything else stems from. Having enough time to implement any programs. If you have more kids, that's less time per child, so keeping those class sizes small. An integrated STEM program is something that came up, and I think that was meant more for the higher grades, but just as like, we want to make sure that it's not just this one-off, like, oh, STEM is just this other class that I have to go to. No, STEM is everywhere, and STEM is in everything, and that's how it should be presented to the kids. Physical and emotional safety, just because if you're not feeling safe, whether you're not safe in your physical space or you're not feeling emotionally safe among your peers, then you're not going to learn. So that was also something that we wanted to make sure was a priority. Encourage innovation and risk-taking. We want to encourage them to take risks and fail. Learn from those failures and then move forward. So we want them to know that that's part of the process, and it should just become second nature. Celebrate those failures. The Mastery Enrichment Program based on learning styles and interests. This one went a little bit over my head because I didn't know too much about it, but it sounds like there's a lot of programs out there already, but we just want to continue expanding on those based on how the child learns and what interests they might have, so that they can find those little, I think someone called it micro-communities before, I'm going to steal your word, just to find those communities where those kids feel like they can be a part of them. Maybe it's outside of math or reading, but it's something else that they excel in, and we want them to be able to explore those interests. Increased collaboration and articulation between the schools and districts. So I know they said that there are some meetings happening between the high school and the middle school, but even between Rockaway and other high schools, just because everybody's feeding into this similar program, and we want to make sure that all of the students are given the same opportunities, and leading that into having a clear communication of the different pathways that students can take. Some of our members felt that they didn't know certain things were an option, so they felt behind the 8 ball when it was their turn for their child to get to that point. And they said, oh wait, we were supposed to prepare for that 2 years ago. Like, just having those sort of clear pathways of, well, in 5th grade you have to do this, so that in 6th grade you can go here, so that by the time you get to 8th grade you can take those high school level courses, and just being able to make sure that all the parents are very well informed of those pathways. And then just thinking outside of our community, although our community is wonderful, and I'm sure that we'll have plenty of volunteers coming in, just to help create those globally minded students as well, that there's other people in this world, and there are little kids across the globe that are learning just like they are, and that they could learn something from one another too. So there's other perspectives out there that everyone could learn from.
Thank you. So now we have 9. Table 9 is coming up now, and then next will be table 10. Good evening. All right, we
we titled it What Made Us. So we took it as, I got to get on this side, I'm sorry. We took it as we did all these things and we achieved all these things in order to get this award, and hence what made us. So with all the growth that's going to be coming into the community, we successfully had building expansion that included every person that came into the area. We created a preschool kindergarten learning center, specifically for all the new people coming in, especially with the young students. We had a lot of innovation of the arts fused within the curriculum from preschool all the way up to 8th grade. We have created internal and external support for students and staff, especially with trauma and social emotional learning. The more in-school 1/250 should have one counselor for every 250 students. So more of counselors in the building. Partnerships with local area schools to develop student leadership and various other aspects of the student growth. Also partnerships with local area businesses for learning various 21st century skills. We have a number of stores in Denville. We have a number of pizza places. We have a number of banks in Denville that students can learn a lot of skills just going there and talking with those people. I understand Denville has a PD Academy and expanded throughout the county and throughout the state. Meeting the needs of all students by providing differentiated instruction to accommodate all learning styles, all students, not just special ed students, but every single student. And having a state-of-the-art technology program within the schools. The most current things that are out there, Denville has. So that's what made us, and that's how we got there.
Table 10 is coming up next, and then after that, table 4.
Thanks, you all got it. Anytime.
Good evening. Most of the themes that we were discussing at our group were really all about being proactive. And that's really what we're all here. 5-year plans, proactivity. So flexible learning, space, open rooms, labs, outdoor classrooms. I said, I think last time I was here, more and more families are coming to Denville. There's going to be, I think, a severe challenge in the next couple of years. Denville's a hot town. And I grew up in Livingston right down Route 10. I never heard of Denville until I moved here. And I've spoken to a lot of people who lived here, who also, before they moved here, never heard of Denville. So Denville, at one point, I guess, was this great kept secret. But the secret's out. It's a great town. It's a family-friendly town. We've got good schools. Our schools are getting better. We need to work on keeping those ratios, like the other groups mentioned, keeping those ratios low, and maximizing the space that we have, whether it's outdoor space as well. Maintain small class sizes and reasonable student-to-teacher ratios, as I just said. 2 teachers or a teacher and aide per class. One thing we talked about in our group was maybe more outreach to local colleges like Kane and Drew and Fairleigh Dickinson and Montclair State. And even though one teacher in our group mentioned that sometimes having a student teacher creates more work for the teacher, eventually they're going to get somebody who can help them out and just be an extra hand. I mean, if one teacher is dealing with 18 students, it's another thing if a teacher is dealing with 24, 25 students. So if they have another adult in the room, even if it's a 22, 23-year-old, 20-year-old, you know, I don't know how old some of these student teachers are that come through, but maybe tapping into that more so that we can just work on those ratios. Maintain cutting-edge technology. One thing we talked about in our group, there was a gentleman who actually had to leave. He runs a daycare, and they brought in robotics. And to see kids doing something, building something tangible, and then going to the screen and plugging it into the computer and watching the helicopter thing twirl or the windmill thing go around, you know, just for 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, I think that we can definitely achieve things like that for our older kids as well. Introduce robotics, that's basically what I just said. Student choice of more options, more electives, just more things. They're not just after school things, but like the other group mentioned, if somebody wants to learn Chinese or learn Russian or whatever have you. Student should, let's see. proactive SEL approach and prevention, just getting ahead of really all of that. Another person we had in our group is with the Wellness Center here in Denville. I think there was, she said her partner was here as well. Just giving the kids the skills that they need to become upstanders, to not sit idly by when they see something wrong going on, to empower and speak for themselves, and so on and so forth. Life skills. I think we all know that a lot of our kids, they're not getting the life skills. When I went through high school, our school made it a point to make sure they put working paper. I remember getting working papers put in my hand at 14. I had no plan of working that summer, but I worked that summer, and I learned life skills. I was accountable to somebody above and beyond my parents. I had to, show up for a job and be on time and have those skills, life skills, citizenship, financial literacy. Again, somebody in our group mentioned their kid going off to college and didn't know how to fill out a check. And although checks are going by the wayside, more and more of us are paying our bills online. We're splitting dinner tabs with Venmo. It's just, financial literacy is definitely something that shouldn't be spoken about when, it's June of your kid's senior year. Partnership with community and police, just getting more community involved. And yeah, that's basically it.
Table 4 is coming up now, and then table 7 will be next.
All righty. We talked about expansion and reorganization. That was kind of our theme and where we're looking. Number 1, reorganize the students across the district for equality across all classrooms in the K through 5. We threw some different things out there. Look at it. Do you want to maybe have a K through 2 school? A 3 through 5 school? What are some options? There's different ways to look at it, because look at a district, we have 2 elementary schools where some classrooms have 25 and some have 20. Is there a way to balance that? Possibly. All right, universal pre-K. People are looking for that as it comes out. That's what they're looking for. Small classroom sizes across the district by providing adequate facilities, ensuring that we have the right folks, the right spaces for all of our learners, to be inclusive, to include everyone in those classrooms. Dedicated block period in the schedule for band and chorus during the academic day for grades 3 through 8. Where's the opportunity for kids to take those things so they don't have to miss a lunch or stay after school with chorus and band on the same day? What are your choices? Facilities and technology infrastructure modernization. Where can we make smart choices to increase not only the facilities, but look at your technology? Are we having appropriate bandwidth? Are there new technologies to adapt and grow? What are things that we can bring in? Investing in the green infrastructure. How can we save money or use other people's money to do things? Are there ways to bring in solar, different things? What can we do? Creating a cohesive district-wide pre-K through 8 social emotional learning program. Having a comprehensive program that meets every kid's needs, that follows them from when they enter the district through when they end. And the last thing is adapt to the ever-changing security needs. Denville's at the forefront, stay at the forefront and keep being there. That's how we kind of look at that expansion and reorganization to grow the district.
Table 7 is coming up with table 2 next.
We had a really cool table because everyone at our table is in education, and so it was a fun conversation. Let's see, so we were talking about 5 years from now, how we're going to grow this community mindset across schools and across districts, across town, and how will we kind of create a greater sense of community across the school. So it used to be that a classroom was the place that a teacher could create community, and now it's much bigger than that. And that includes academically and socially, emotionally. We were talking about unified school districts, like having a good sense of transition, going from elementary to middle school to high school. we want to have some sort of a magical, someone can invent an app for this. They'd be really rich, like some sort of streamlined communication. Next year I'm going to have 4 kids in 4 schools and getting notifications from all different 4 places. And how can we kind of fix the communication in a way that everyone will get the necessary information and read it and know it, and it won't be too hard or expensive, right? We talked about student-teacher ratio. Just like before, they said to clarify, we want low class sizes, not big class sizes, because you're going to type up exactly what we wrote, so we wrote small here. We talked about putting a greater spotlight on the related arts, finding ways, like the last group said, of making sure that it gets tucked into the middle of the day, not the end of the day, as an extra thing that kids have to stay for, and just other ways of celebrating the arts. So we were talking about academic competitions and celebrations, ways that kids can participate in some of those inside and outside the district. Deepening the sense of student-driven instruction, where our kids feel like it is a very student-centered environment, where they feel like they're an important part of the classroom, but going deeper with that sense of like teachers are making instructional decisions based on what's going on in front of them, and teachers are kind of given methods on how to manipulate and differentiate the curriculum based on the things that the students are doing. That also includes like giving more and more sense of student choice in their academics and in the way that they run the classroom. Continuing with our security practices to help make our kids feel safe and our staff feel safe, and individualized academic support. Just doing more and more where we're able to kind of figure out what the kids need and give them that. We're not following programs, we're teaching children, and that's the most important thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, table 2 and then table 1 after that.
Okay, so the title of our article was An Education That Builds Resilience, Grit, and Flexibility. And what we envisioned was an inclusive environment where all students thrive. And we talked a lot, I think similar to what other groups were saying, but more opportunities for different kids to express their knowledge in different ways and through their own interests, such as we talked about the arts program, expanding that as many groups did. We talked about integrated, authentic learning experiences, and that touched more on the life skills opportunities for students. We did talk about more opportunities to take advantage of our community and get more experiences for our students out in the community learning, similar to, again, similar, we feel like we were on the same page with a lot of the other groups. We talked about differentiated opportunities to excel. Again, we talked about the middle of the path, basically the average students, and how sometimes they may not feel like they're excelling the way a student in more of an advanced course would, or they're maybe not getting as much attention as some students who have more learning needs. So we talked about how these differentiated opportunities would help those students feel like they're excelling and really help them shine. Let's see, we talked about having more culturally immersive experiences. We like some of the things that are going on, such as we talked about the World Dance Program, and we'd like to see more culturally immersive experiences, which would further give us that inclusive environment we're striving for. We talked about civic engagement. We talked a lot about building resiliency in the students, and I heard the other group say how it's okay to fail. We talked a lot about that, helping them use that as a stepping stone in a learning experience, as opposed to something that's a major setback. Our group also thought it would be beneficial to have a kitchen or a cafeteria. We thought it would meet a lot of different students' needs. And we talked about also an auditorium would be nice to have for the district, a true auditorium, and later start times. Thanks.
So table 1 is coming up now, and then table 6 after that.
of the assignment that I would be up here accepting an award, so I'm fully prepared to do that here today. So our title was a whole district with all stakeholders focused on the whole child with a global perspective to create well-rounded global citizens of the world. And we are very proud of all that we accomplished in these past 5 years. And in order to do that, it was based on a proactively planned, fiscally responsible, understood plan for what would happen with the expansion that we're expecting. And whether that be, as some people said, a school focused on our younger early elementary education students, or whether that be just breaking apart elementary schools, adding classrooms, that's to be decided, but something that we want to focus on in order to have spacing conducive to a broad range of learners, whether that be in the whole class setting or small groups. That could be for our students who are struggling, but also for our students who are gifted and talented and want to have those differentiated experiences as well. Creatively maximizing time, so focusing on core content, but also embedding student interest, student choice, community-based instruction and involvement, and the arts, giving students lots of opportunities, but knowing that we have to be really creative with the minutes that we have to do that. Use and expand on our technological learning with innovative, culturally responsive themes. Thinking about what can we do to, have far-reaching connections with different community members, people around the world, having those really strong experiences for our students. Technology is ever-changing, and we can do that right alongside of it. Balance between academic, social, emotional learning, making sure that with this technology in front of us, we're still creating opportunities for students to talk to each other, to be face-to-face, to close the computer and have those experiences that are truly meaningful, but also be prepared for the world around them that is very much computer-based. Finding opportunities to diversify our programs while fostering dialogue among students, thinking about what we can do to continue to evolve, bringing in those career days, that opportunity for community involvement for students to learn what it looks like to start a small business, what it looks like to write a check, things like that. Critical thinking, risk-taking, problem-solving, and students understanding, what it looks like to grapple. Building from the ground up of problem solving in math in second grade, then going into debate in the later years. Building those connections year to year and what that looks like for the students. Fostering opportunities for continued student leadership and a strong bridge between the schools. We are looking at year to year, school to school, experience to experience. The students are moving, they're growing, but they're doing so in a community, in a district that's truly connected with the same vision and approach to see all students succeed and excel.
Table 6 is coming up, and then table 3.
Hello. We had a lot of the same themes throughout our discussions too. So we talked about cultivating a community of empathetic and empowered leaders. The first thing we talked about was differentiating options, exposing all learners to the arts. Like we know they have the electives and they have the options for this, but we really wanted to see the students have to take some of these classes kind of in a rotation, because we feel like some of them decide not to take them because their friends aren't taking them, or that somebody might say something that they're taking something different. So if you're exposing them, they might find something that they weren't looking for in the program. Then we talked about involving students in civic and community-based learning, K through 8. Just having more of the students in the community, having the community coming into school. We talked about kind of going across the elementary schools before they're going up to the middle school. So maybe as a whole second grade level, from both Lakeview and Riverview, going out to the community to do a service learning project, like pick a day, plan for it, and then everybody goes together. And then you do this all the way through, and then by the 8th grade, we had talked about doing like a capstone project, where, in order to graduate, they need to do something with the community service learning project. Then we talked about defined progression of social emotional learning, K through 8, just bringing it all the way through to build those empathetic students. And just overall, we have all those acronyms that making sure it gets, all the way from K through 8. Maintaining class size and physical space to allow for diverse learning options. So having the small sizes, but also having the physical space to offer other programs, not having to get rid of one to do something else. So just having the space to do that. infuse leadership opportunities to grow towards self-empowerment, just giving students a chance to become the leaders, giving them leadership skills, leadership options. And then our last one was offer more opportunities for families to be involved in learning process. In the past, we've done a lot of family math nights, family literacy nights, related arts nights, and I think we can start bringing that back because we had really great turnout, and just getting them to come in and do different things and walking away with different projects, and also the parents are learning along the students to kind of help them at home. So that's what we have.
Table 3. Bring us home.
Okay, yes, last one. I'll be quick. We actually struggled to look for the title, but just that basically sums up what everybody's been saying, right? Denville, the best school district. So we thought about 5 years from now. We of course want the district to take the necessary steps to continue the small class sizes that we all know and love right now, to really make sure that our students have the comfort in the classroom, that they're not being overlooked. The teachers feel like they can teach their lesson and not have to worry about getting to so many extra students and bodies in the room. We have the continued support of teachers and retention. We have great teachers in Denville, and we want to continue to keep those teachers and make sure we're giving them the supports necessary to do that. We need strong community involvement. I know you said that this is one of the most attended meetings, but we should have more people here, right? We want to really get the community involved. And this kind of goes into number 4, which someone mentioned before. Someone can invent some kind of app and make millions of dollars if you can streamline the communication. We have all the different ways that we communicate. There's Genesis, there's Google Classroom, some teachers have that Remind app, we get the Friday folder emails, we get all these different communications, and I think that part of the reason why the community doesn't get involved is because they're just missing things. There's too many things to check, and if it was streamlined, I think we'd get a lot more community involvement. We have developed resources to have students feel self-motivated, so giving them, kind of empowering them. We're kind of talking about the students really being self-motivated and creating an environment that will make them take ownership of their own learning and really want to be there and be proud of themselves. Have children be part of the sustainability efforts in the schools. We talked about the Green Club, that all the different schools have those different clubs, and kind of maybe bring it together in the community, making sure that they're part of that. And tailored instruction to support diverse learners. This is for every single student, making sure that we're looking at each individual student and what they need. We're not just putting in supports for special ed or students who need reading support, every single student in every single school.
So do you feel like now you have a picture of what the school could look like in 5 years? Like, can you really see, what can be here? And you've heard a lot of common things, right, come together. So that is going to be my work between now and when we come back together in 2 weeks, is to take all of the information from the first 2 meetings and kind of resort it, rather than table 1, table 2, whatever. It'll now be kind of based around the themes, so that we can use that information then to write the goal statements at the next meeting. And that's then where we're really developing that roadmap. So again, just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone. I think that we heard some really just amazing things here tonight, and really look forward to seeing how it's all going to come together in that plan, recognizing that how important that will be to help move the district and your students forward for the next 5 years. So again, thank you to everyone. Bid you good night, and really appreciate you all taking the time to spend with us tonight.
I didn't remember that. So, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Take 5 of them, which didn't go really
Okay. Were you glad that it was taken out from a scheduling standpoint? Of course not. Wow. So is this something that bringing back the arts or something? Like, do you think that's something that or make it mandatory, like these are their choices? They are. Okay. Are there people taking those courses? Are the kids taking the last 3 courses? Like they are, there's not like one student in the class, right? You know what we don't do a lot of? I was curious because that was another theme. We do a lot of Thank you so much. I love this. Yeah.
You don't know where it's going to go. And then, as I said to you, it's a magical process.
Not a problem with us that we can put on top and say it's going to move forward with it.
Yeah, it really is. I thought, I was part of this 5 years ago, and I thought it was a great experience. That was like the year before I joined the board. And a lot of the topics that we just talked about that became our core values was a lot of it was what we needed to prepare for the technologies. I mean, we made an effort to spend more on technology, and suddenly we had Chromebooks for all the kids. We slowly built up to that, Social, mental health and social emotional health. That's when we first started. And then security too, that was like a major component to this section 5 years ago. There was one voice that I remember clearly, because she had lived in San Jose, and she unfortunately her child had to go down. She was a big advocate for now people are like, glad that we did it. It's like, yeah, exactly. This is great. I think that's how it is.
No, I know, but I didn't know what you guys had done. Thank you.
I don't have any. Steve. We don't have a second. We don't have any for a second. Is that a need for Cindy, do you have to adjust that camera?
No. Oh, you know what? You know what I had Yes, on Wednesday. Yeah. So nothing at
All right, thank you everybody for the strategic planning meeting. Appreciate everybody's work on that. At this point in the meeting, we're going to open to our second open comment section. This portion of the meeting is open to any individuals for the purpose of addressing resolutions on this agenda or matters they find important to the Board of Education and is governed by Board Policy 0167. Prior to making a comment, members of the public are required to state their names, addresses, and the subject matter of the comment. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. No participant may speak more than once on the same topic until all others who wish to speak on that same topic have been heard. Comments made by members of the public may or may not be addressed or responded to by the board or district administration. Any response that is provided will be made at the end of the public comment period after all comments have been heard. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Students and employees have specific legal rights afforded by the laws of New Jersey. Therefore, comments regarding specific students and employees will not be responded to by the board. The board bears no responsibility, nor will it be held liable for any comments made by members of the public. Members of the public should consider their comments in light of the legal rights of those affected or identified in their comments and be aware that they are legally responsible and liable for their comments. All statements, questions, inquiries shall be directed to the board president. It's 9:27. I'll open for public comment. If anybody would like to make a comment, please step up to the podium where there is a microphone and state your name and address for the record. Seeing no one come up, we're going to close our public comment section at 9:27 p.m. We do not have a need for executive session. So
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Mr. Kim, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? No. Any abstentions? No. We are adjourned at 9:28 p.m.
The other one was all over the place, because this is obviously the focus you're talking about.
Virtually, I can
do a call and
do a call in the middle of the day. Really? Make sure really add the issues to really check that Bye, Sam. Have a good night. That way, there's no, you're not keeping it on one person, one job. Right, yeah, and no. Right. Right, well, and that's the thing, like, I don't, like, as soon as I thought about it, like, right, she was out to be done that for.
Yes.
But there is
Really wanted that spelled out.
Yeah, and we don't have anything in the town for that, like, they do anything on their own. Yeah, right, exactly. Yes, you're absolutely correct. Nah, you'll have another person here bugging you.
Everyone else. We need to talk tomorrow. Let's get together and do the emails now. Good thing as long as they're 27. Mara said you didn't want to. All right. I think so. You're the only one right now on the 6th. James is not good on the 27th. So I'm flying on the 6th. He can't do the other.
meet James is more than you need.
I'm really glad to hear that. I don't know you guys are talking about whatever, but I will see you.
If everybody else can make it, or maybe
No, I'm not.
Six is better, yeah, get it over with.
Thank you.
Call in, or you could be.
All right, what if I'm, it's usually like the end of the day, it's usually like. I'm a little denser, so I can call it. Okay. Okay. All right, so we'll set that up. It's pretty pro forma. It's not even gonna be a super long meeting. It's really just introducing that.
Okay, that's right. You even walked out there last year, you did, but on the ground you did. Yeah, Maris was there. We haven't.
No
attorney.
But the one you're not gonna get, we're gonna, he and I are gonna go, we're gonna go Patrick's.
Well, one of the things we can consider is, I mean, we may not need. Maybe we don't need to be in sample. Yeah, I mean, because essentially we're just gonna break the ice, right? Well, you're talking about the ground rules.
Okay. We didn't have a turn all the way through. Damaris, the 6th.
You have the ground rules from last time?
Yeah, we're gonna do the
I
ground.
started working on it.
December 6th, are you available?
Just change the date and the.
We're not exchanging proposals, right?
No.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, Vina's the only one who can't make it, but we're gonna, but then the 22nd isn't so good for Jade, and we're gonna try to just, I don't know.
What do we want to do? We want the schools?
I mean, they always meet at Valley View Library.
The only thing is about the Valley View is it could be used for some kind of club, so.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm assuming.
We'll find somewhere.
I'm assuming they usually reserve it, like, they're usually pretty.
They do.
We were in the library last year. Yeah, you know what, by the time, you're talking 4, the clubs are gone. Clubs go
It would be
2:30.
at least 4, maybe later, if it was like 4, between 4 and 5, okay for you? Or where
If the
does that
flight
start
is
to
on
become
time,
good?
I should be landing 2 p.m. Eastern time. So,
So you have a little bit of time to
yeah,
get
I'll
settled?
have. we'll
Even
get
if
settled.
Vino's only on the call for 5 minutes, just introduce himself. He doesn't have to.
Yeah, you really just call it, yeah.
Call in and say, I'm sorry about it now, I just want to let you know who I am and I'm involved in the process or something. Looking forward to an
See you at the
applicable,
next one, right?
or looking forward to a good process or
Okay,
something like that.
all right, I'll firm that up with them tomorrow.
All right, good.
Okay.
Great.
Cool.
By the way, this was fantastic. I'm sad that I missed the last time around 3 years ago. I'm sad I missed the first session.
Were you after one?
Yeah, 5 years and I was. 5 years and
More than 5 years. 2017. What was it, 7 years ago? Because we missed a whole year because of COVID. No, we did it a year before we started, so it was 5 years. What did we do? Last time we did. Oh, it was 5 years? Yeah, but more than 5. We're a year. We're a year late, now we did a year early.
Oh. 2016.
It was a year before I was on the board. But it was the spring of 2012.
I had been just.
Yeah, because it started, we did it a year before it actually went to place.
Thank you, Damaris.
Correct. So I had moved in October 2016. And my daughter wasn't even.
Dr. Forte, did anybody leave their iPhone charger here?
Yeah, that would be me.
All right.
Thank you. How many of them have I lost?
I know. I just wanted one for Jen for,
I did it 2 other
for
times.
you guys, for the sample.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
All right, good night, guys.
All right, cool.
Why is this stuck? Where does this white one go, Kim? Oh, it's just on this table thing. You want to pull it? Can you pull it over? One more. Now, was this? So I hit stop on this.
Oh, good.
Wait, not yet. I will. Wait a minute.